Art has played an important role in American culture for many years and is especially prominent in the world of paintings.
There have been various eras of art movements, and each shows us a little bit about what life was like in the time period it was popular. Many genres of art evolved in other countries like France or England, but the styles often came to America or influenced the emergence of new art styles.
The most well-known eras that were influential to American society in paintings were Romanticism and Nationalism, Realism, Impressionism, Fauvism, Modern Art, Art Deco, Pop Art, and Contemporary.
One of the first types of art that was practiced in America came to be known as the Nationalistic and Romanticism style, which emerged around the mid-1800s. Nationalism was a theme to stand for your country. Many included this theme in art by painting landscapes and features of the land to show pride in their land.
Romanticism came to signify the change from classical and an emphasis on emotional and spiritual themes. The Hudson River paintings showcase this style perfectly, giving off a great sense of patriotism towards America and elements of the Romanticism style. The painters from the Hudson River School mainly focused on capturing natural light and creating a glow in the landscape.
Realism was an extremely important period for paintings and lasted from about 1865 to 1910. Realism focused on labor and celebrated the working class. Focusing on rustic elements, it was used to depict ideas, customs, and appearances of the time by using scenes from everyday life.
Winslow Homer is famous for realism paintings. He was an artist during the Civil War and focused on painting war scenes, but later on painting children and parents with their children. He mainly used oil paints for his artwork, but also focused on the realism form of art during this time period.
Edward Hopper is also famous for his realism paintings. He incorporated watercolors and printmaking in his oil paintings to create the realism effect. In Hopper's paintings, he often tries to show his realistic view of the American lifestyle, often giving off a mysterious and sometimes gloomy tone within his paintings.
One of his famous realism paintings is Summer Interior from 1909. However, his most well-known painting would be Nighthawks from 1942. In Nighthawks, Hopper is trying to convey the loneliness of such a large city like New York by painting in the realism style.
Grant Wood is another realism painter. His painting American Gothic from 1930 is extremely well known. This painting highlights the working class and the average lifestyle of the average farmer in a Western living style.
Impressionism was the next art period to emerge, and this occurred in the late 1800s to the early 1900s in America. However, this art style is unofficially founded by Claude Monet, a French artist who influenced many Impressionist artists. One of Monet's famous paintings is the Impression Sunrise from 1872.
Some hints of Impressionist style was in America prior to the late 1800s and could be found in some of the paintings from the Hudson River School, especially by the artist Thomas Cole, like in his painting Notch of the White Mountains in 1839.
Impressionist art captures fleeting effects of natural light by painting with thick strokes of paint, painting outside, mixing contemporary colors for shadows, and informally mixing paint by brushing a new color on the wet canvas by softly mixing the color.
Another art style that became popular in America was Fauvism, from about 1898 to 1908. This genre of art started with French artists, but eventually spread throughout to America. Some characteristics of it are violent and bright colors, distortion, and often bright landscapes.
One Fauvism artist would be Maurice de Vlaminck, who painted the river scene at Chatou in 1906. Another artist is Henri Matisse, who is considered to be one of the principal figures in the Fauve movement. The Fauve movement was a group of modern artists from 1904 to 1908 who were united in their use of intense color.
Some of Matisse's work include L'Espace des Couleurs and The Open Window, both from 1905. He introduced unnaturalistic color and vivid brushstrokes into their paintings. He was called a natural fauve because his use of highly intense color corresponded in his exuberant nature.
The modern art movement took up a large amount of time from about the 1860s to the 1970s. It aimed to break traditional and classical forms of art and do so differently. Some of the well-known categories within modern art are surrealism, cubism, and abstract.
Georgia O'Keeffe is known for being a modern artist who did not want to conform to the styles of other artists. She used symmetry and bolder colors, and many of her paintings were said to be erotic and implying sexual themes. Her main focus was on flowers and skulls. For examples, her pieces Ram's Head, Hollyhocks, and Little Hills, and Gray Line with black, blue, and yellow.
Surrealism was during the early 1900s and tried to represent the subconscious mind by creating fantastic imagery and juxtaposing elements that seemed to contradict each other. It was also based on fantasy, the world of dreams, and some artists underwent hypnosis to reach their true dreams.
Dorothy Tanning is a famous surrealist artist who painted dreamlike situations. Some of her well-known paintings are The Truth About Comets, Ein klein Nachmittag, and Arizona Landscape.
Cubism, another form of modern art, uses geometric shapes and vibrant colors. Pablo Picasso, a Spanish artist, led the way for Cubism with pieces of nude, green leaves, and busts from 1932. While Picasso was not an American artist, he did influence artists to try the Cubism art.
One of those artists would be Max Weber, who immigrated to the United States from Russia and helped start Cubism in America. One of his more famous Cubist paintings is Rush Hour from 1915.
Abstract art came about during the 1950s to the 1960s. Some of its characteristics are that it is informal, has vibrant colors, and emphasizes form and color. This style is shown in Abstraction XI by Rolf Scarlett.
Art Deco became popular during the Roaring Twenties with its rich colors, bold geometric shapes, and lavish decoration details. It's characterized by setbacks, zigzag forms, and the use of chrome and plastic ornamentation. While Art Deco is more prominent in architecture, it can still be seen in paintings. Tamara de Lempicka is known for her paintings that resemble Art Deco style, like La Dormeuse and The Musician.
The pop art phenomenon started in Britain in the 1950s, but eventually spread into the American culture as well during the 1950s and the 1970s. It consisted of realistic portraits and popular everyday objects by using recognizable imagery and bright colors. These paintings were influenced by comic books and the images of celebrities or fictional characters.
Andy Warhol was the leading figure of the visual art movement, including pop art. He was one of the first artists to include celebrity culture in his artwork expression. He is well known for his images of Marilyn Monroe and his first pop art piece that did well of a Campbell's tomato soup can.
The most recent art style would be contemporary art, which is from the last 10 to 20 years. It focuses on feminism, multiculturalism, and globalization. Contemporary art was the beginning of using sculptures more to express art.
Lisa Yuskavage is a contemporary American painter who lives and works in New York City. Her figurative oil paintings are known for its engagement with the female form in Small Morning from 2005, is one of her most well-known. Another contemporary artist is Ghada Amir, who is living and working in New York City. She immigrated from Egypt to the US at age 11 and was educated in Paris and Nice and has painted Le Champ des Marguerites.
Altogether, American art has had many different periods throughout history, continuing to be influenced by American culture and is constantly changing.